Alright guys, today I want to talk about solving equations with variables on both sides. This looks a little bit different for us. We've spent the whole unit talking about how do we combine variables, how do we simplify equations or solve equations when we have the variable just on one side, but I want to talk to you about how we do it on both, and it combines all those skills. So in the first problem, 60 plus 25s equals 450 plus 10s. The first thing I'm going to do is remember PEMDAS, my order of operations. I'm still going to undo things, but I'm going to undo things with the goal of keeping the variable together and trying to get both of them together on one side. Once I have the variable together on one side, then I can solve it just like I was yesterday. So first things first, I'm going to try and, well, I could subtract 25s or subtract 10s. I'm going to subtract 10s first. Remember, it doesn't really matter which way you go. Minus 10s, this will cancel. 25 minus 10 is going to be 15. Carry along the s. Now I write the rest of the problem so that I know what I have left to deal with. Now I have this 60 over here, and it's a positive 60, so I'm going to subtract 60. Subtract 60. Now I have 15s because this cancels, equals 450 minus 60 is 390. Now I can divide. And using the calculator, I find that s, because this and this cancel, this is equal to 26. So the first thing I had to do was get my variables together. That's kind of the goal for today, is to combine variables. And as long as I combine those variables, then I can create a single variable problem, and I can solve it just like I have been, and which has been pretty easy for us so far. It gets a little bit tricky anytime you add fractions to the mix, but let's take a look at one problem with it. The goal is still the same, to combine those variables. So I have 6/5 y and 4/5 y. So I'm going to subtract 4/5 y from 6/5 y so I don't wind up with a negative. So I'm going to subtract that 4/5 y from both sides. Six, since they're both the same denominator, 6 minus 4 is the math that I have to do. 6 minus 4 is 2, so I'm left with 2/5 y plus 8 equals negative 10, because this cancels. So I want to get y by itself now to solve. That's the new goal, because I've already accomplished this goal. So the new goal, get y by itself. Well, I'm going to subtract 8, subtract 8. This will cancel. A negative 10 is like adding. Okay, negative plus a negative is still a negative. Negative 18 over here equals 2/5 y. Now, this fraction is being multiplied by whatever y is, so I have to divide. So I'm going to divide 2/5 out. I'm going to divide 2/5 out. Now I can punch this into the calculator and it'll give me an answer, or I can remember that dividing by a fraction is truly the same thing as multiplying by the inverse. So I'm going to come over here, I'm going to go negative 18 over 1 times 5/2, because I'm going to flip that second fraction because that's what a reciprocal is. 18 minus 5 is going to be, use a calculator, it's going to be negative 90. And 1 divided by 2, and then I can simplify from there. I can use the calculator to do that. 90/2 is the same as negative 45. So x equals negative 45 for this problem. S equals 26 for this problem. This has been solving equations with variables on both sides. Your goal is to combine variables first and then solve for that variable.